Are you on this? Are you on the Zen kick because of the new studies that have come out?
Yeah,
or you,
damn right.
do you think it's true?
I know it's true. I've been using it. I think they absolutely have an impact. I feel like more clarity. I feel like it helps with just overall like positivity. I really can't explain it, but I'm just telling you. And I know why, like, you know, whether it was people smoking after a meal or after a long day, it's like you just get some type of relaxing. For me, it's like a little relaxing energy that I can't really describe, and I feel more focused with it. Can't really explain it, but it works.
So all the years growing up, don't smoke. I played baseball, NCAA outlawed tobacco, chewless tobacco, smokeless tobacco the year that I was a freshman at UNLV. It was the year that the NCAA deemed it illegal and you couldn't chew anymore in a game.
Yep.
And of course, there was players that would roll up Red Man in their bubble gum and put it in their cheek, and then our coaches would all sneak Copenhagen, you know. But you always heard that it was bad for you. So now they're trying to say that the smoking's bad, the carcinogens, the smoke, the inhalation, your lungs. The chewing's bad because of the tobacco, the pressure on your lip and your skin all the time. But now here we are in 2025, and they're literally telling us go. It's almost like Zyn has a lobbying group that are telling the American public these are healthy now. Because you never really heard that nicotine was healthy our whole life.
They're not really telling you to go get the Zings. They're saying do a nicotine patch, a 7 milligram nicotine patch.
Well, what's the difference?
I mean, look, there's also 15 to 17 carcinogens in smokeless tobacco that you put in your lip and in cigarettes. So there's a lot more garbage in those other products. From what I've done, and I've done a little bit of research on this, especially Tucker Carlson has a Zyn product like that as well. And just reading about it, there's not really anything in there that's going to cause you any more harm than anything else. There's not like crazy ingredients in there. So I'm just rolling with it right now.
So let me ask you this. If you had to wake up tomorrow and you only got one Zyn, what do they go in milligrams? Is it 6 milligrams of
3,
nicotine?
6, 9, 12.
Okay, let's say you wake up tomorrow, you only get 1 6 milligram all day.
Yeah.
Are you good with that?
Yeah.
So it's not addicting.
I can wake up tomorrow morning and not use.
So you're not putting those in your mouth all the time because you're addicted? Or is it comfortable? Is it fun to have them in your mouth? Or do you need that much nicotine?
It's kind of fun. And I just like the little, I can't want to say pump because, you know, just a little pep you get from it. I feel immediately. It's, I'd say it like it's like you get a small little head change, a little, like you just feel this little rush of energy or calm or just focus. And I like to do it. But there's been days traveling. I remember I just flew out to Florida with my daughter, and it was like a day and a half, and we're at the hotel that night, and I go, oh, doll, I got all these Zins in my bag, and she's laughing. She's like, you didn't even do one today. And I'm like, yeah, I guess I didn't. You know, there's days where I wake up and I don't even think about it. So if I had to quit tomorrow, I could.
I was looking for this picture real quick. I was with some guys the other day, and they had a little, I guess, tin or whatever those are called, a little can. And I'm like, let me have one of those Zins. And they're like, it's not a Zyn. And now I can't find it. But it was just caffeine.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. And so I went online to buy them, and they were like 5 cans for $35. They're like $7 a can. So much as freaking Copenhagen for this It's a pouch just like that, but there's no nicotine.
It's like the NeuroGum?
It's just a pouch like that.
Yeah.
And I put one in. I'm like, I got a little, what you call a bump. I don't know why you use the word bump. Is that from your past? Is that something that came from your past?
It's just what comes to mind.
Like, what is a bump, Joey?
I don't know.
You don't know.
It's like a bump in energy. You know, it's like you drink a good caffeinated drink or something. You feel that little kick. It's the same thing. That's what I meant.
Are you allowed to tell stories you're in midlife right now, and you've experienced quite a bit in the last 30 years, athletically, professionally, travel wise, fatherhood wise. You've been in ups and downs and court cases, relationships, everything. You've lived a lot of life. Do you think that knowing what you know about the limelight, do you want the limelight ever again? You experienced it. And where I'm going with this is that I want to get into a couple stories about your friend Sylvester Stallone, because he's still in the news. We
were talking about him on the way out here right now. He's like a mentor of mine since 2004. There isn't not a day, but there isn't a time when I'm thinking about something that I don't say, like what would Sly do or what would Sly say, because he had such a profound impact on me in 2004 when I went on that Contender show and then decided, I made up my mind on that show, I'm going to go chase down a world title and I'm going to get there. And I'll never forget Sly's comment to me when we're sitting on this, we're on a G4 or G whatever it is, flying back from the East Coast. And I say to him, so Sly, I got a question for you. And he's like, all I did was pepper him with questions. I remember one day he turns around and goes, you're nonstop. I just hammer him because he was so interesting, and he's like a non sequitur king, meaning that any topic you can pick a watch company in Switzerland, pick some whatever, he'll tell you who owned it and who financed it. You're just like, no one would ever imagine this guy's brain and the intellect he has and how smart and well-rounded he is on everything. So I say, Sly, how do you do it? Like, what's your secret? And he goes, you really want to know? You want to know? And I'm like, yeah. And he's getting us all riled up. And I go, what is it? And he looks at me, he goes, whatever the fuck it takes. And I said, what does that mean? He goes, it means what it means. He goes, I don't operate. I operate on a 24-hour clock. I don't have time. No one should have this time I don't have time for. He goes, you have 30 to 60 minutes in a day where you can get a workout in. You can do push-ups. You can do squats. He goes, it's bullshit. He goes, I don't want to hear it. And he goes, so I operate on a 24-hour schedule and I get it in. And he said, from my meals to my workouts, he goes, it's all about, hard work and dedication, discipline, being diligent. And this guy, Sly, would travel and he would have his little assistants. There would be a cooler with hot food and a cooler with cold food. And he'd put his hand up like this, not rude, just like this. They'd roll over to him, lobster tail, filet mignon, tri-tip, all his meats and protein, eggs, anything you can think of, yogurt, whatever. And then over here, he had vegetables and snacks, nuts. The guy was just a machine. Anything he wanted. He said, I learned a long time ago, food is everything. You got to have the right stuff around you. Whenever I'm anywhere, they know what I need. Then he would just raise a hand. I mean, they'd bring over his cold cooler, had any type of drink cold in there, any type of fresh fruit cut up for him, ready to go. And he would just, a little serving, he'd just take it. And so that's what made me realize, okay, there is no excuses. You got to get done what you need to get done. Prep your day, prep your week, whatever it is, and don't have some excuse. I ran out of time. And so I lived that life until the end of my boxing career, and still to this day, I'd get off a flight at 10 o'clock and go home and get on the treadmill. I'd get in my 30 minutes or whatever it was, get in some resistance training. And so that man has a profound impact on me to this day. And as a matter of fact, we're driving out here and I'm telling her that about Stallone just because his name came up and we're laughing about him. So I love that guy, man, and I love his mindset.
Do you think that with Stallone, I think he's about 77 now, 76, somewhere in there. He's about the same age as Schwarzenegger. Do you think that everything that you just explained is a big reason why these guys are still as active as they are in almost their 80s? Like they're already past the average length of a human life for a male. Okay, I think it's like 75 or 76. They're both past it. Do you think that their prep for this time in their life?
Absolutely.
Everything you just described.
Yep.
And how much of that do you think is genetics? That because I've seen some of Sly's family members, and I've talked with his brother Frank, great human being.
Yeah,
they're not built like Sylvester, but I mean Sylvester started training like this in the 70s.
Yeah, but it's what he's been doing. It's like he's never stopped. And again, it's sad. Like we'll bring up a quick topic right now. Seeing Hulk Hogan, die at 71 years old, with me knowing him personally and through friends here in town that like Dave Houston and guys that represented him. The guy had millions and millions of dollars. How he wasn't in Panama or somewhere, Colombia, getting stem cells. I heard he had heart conditions. There is something for everything now. And when you have the money, when you have the resources, it doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand. And you know what? Some feedback's come to me since, Hulk passed in the last week. I happen to be in Florida. I run into my chiropractor, where my daughter is on her way to right now for treatment, where I brought all my teammates in. Said, Joey, I had a friend in Naples that was like one of those concierge physicians, and he was always telling, Terry, hey man, like let me run through your stuff, let me run through your labs, let me get you on some serious regeneration and anti-aging stuff. You need it. You've done so much damage to your heart over the years with the different things that we all know he used and people have talked about. Why would you not take those those steps to protect yourself? I think Sly has just always used his resources properly. You guys remember back in the day, it was early 2000s, he was all in the news because he brought a bunch of growth hormone to Australia and got pinched for it because it was going through customs. I remember asking him about it, and he just laughed about it. It was about 150 grand worth of product. And he's like, yeah, they took it. And I was like, what'd you do? He said I had some flown in the next day. So guys like that just don't take no for an answer, and they're going to put in their body what they believe is best and what they've done their research on. And God, the studies have been out for decades on anti-aging protocols that a lot of these guys use, especially the actors you see that don't look like they've gone backwards. Those guys have been using stem cells and peptides and the stuff we're going to talk about for years. And I'm not talking 4 or 5 years. I'm talking a decade. I started, look at John. We're going to talk about one of our guys, John Kerry. He's been using peptides for 15 years, 15 or 20. Actually, I think he said 15 or 20 years. So these guys just have access to stuff that now everyone's starting to get access to because of, Twitter and because of free, media that's out there and platforms that you could talk about this stuff on. You never used to be able to find it. And even if you researched it, you were limited. Now with AI, you can find anything. And I think now what's happening is the world is waking up that, look, these guys look this fantastic because they're doing something. What are they doing? And to back Sly up, he just has never not utilized his resources to his full potential. And he looks fantastic.
So kind of the gist of what you're telling me is from this, let's say 1980 until now, Sly is doing peptides. He's putting things into his body to enhance his health that most Americans were not doing.
I would say the word I would always use is optimize. And it's only because in 2004, standing in his study, when I asked him, so what do you mean? And we were, because I was constantly hounding him on. So he said, whatever it takes. What else do you mean? He goes, well, here's an example. We walk into his den. He reaches up on one of his shelves. He pulls down a binder from 1983 and goes, look, here's my blood right here. Here's all my levels. He goes, Joey, remember this. 20 years from now, everyone's going to be optimizing their hormones. They're going to be optimized, enhancing their hormones. It's all about optimizing those basically metrics. And he goes, I've just been very, very disciplined on this. And then he goes, you remember Copland? And I was like, yeah. He goes, remember how I had to put on about 40, 50 pounds? Pulls that down. He goes, look here. And then he shows me his stuff. He goes, then I had to get back in shape, pulls another binder down, 1994. I was blown away, everything there. And that's what lit a fuse in me. And what happened was I went back to Reno. I come back home in 2005. And I bring a lab, thing. He told me what to check. And I go into my primary care doctor here and he goes, what is this? What are you doing? What do you think you got cancer? This is overkill. And I had to call my father, who had to step in and say, listen, he just wants it. Get it for him. So in 2005 is when I got my first labs, which I have now in binders at my house, starting in 2005 forward, all my blood work for every year. It's all so much easier now because of, you can check into my chart or anything like that. You can pull up all your meds going back as far as 2013 for me. So I've got over 12 years of data that I look through. And so what Sly did is he was just being very cognizant of where his levels were and started making sure. And I don't know if optimizing is a word. Back then, it was just staying in that top range. Now, when all Americans are all funneled into the same test. So when they're telling you, Chad Belding, that your testosterone is this level or your blood levels are this level, you're being lumped in with all the other 50, 49, 50, 55-year-old men in the sickest, most unhealthy, overweight, obese country on earth. And I'm telling you, just for me, I'm not trying to be at that low level. So when they give you that range of 200 to 900, they say, oh, you're good, you're 300. Where in life, anywhere on this planet, would you, Chad Belding, think that it's okay to be at the lower tier level of what's considered healthy? Just you and knowing you, as long as you're going to want to be at the top range. And when Tony Robbins talks about this, that circle, he wants to be outside that range. So if this is supposed to be what's average for the average male American at that age group, I'm not trying to be with any of those guys. I hold myself at a level up here. So I want to be outside of that bubble. So that's why I tell everybody I sit about 1,000, where I'm at, and I feel great with it. Now that's not for everybody. And you might feel great at 600, 700, 800, but I just say to everybody, until you get a holistic imprint or blueprint of what you look like, don't do anything. The supplements you're taking, you don't even know they're working. There's genetic tests now, which we offer, our platform offers. There's testing to see what vitamins and minerals you're deficient in. Why would you not address those? Before you go see some doctor that's going to prescribe you something from Big Pharma that you'll probably be on the rest of your life, why would you not first try to get your body there holistically and naturally, and then try and remove some of those things? So another thing Sly said at that exact meeting was, we don't have health care in this country. We have sick care. He said this in 2004. He said in Europe and other places, they're all about maintaining those optimum levels now so you don't get to 60. Now you come and see the doctor, you're overweight, you got type 2 diabetes, and the doctors are putting you on what? Statins and all kinds of different prescription meds that you wouldn't have been ever needed to be put on had you been, optimizing your hormones and optimizing your blood levels 20 years ago. So all Sly did was say, you know what? I'm not going to wait till I get sick, feel sick, and go to a doctor and have him give me something. I'm going to address this now, and I'm going to stay on it for as long as I need to, and that's what he's done. So I just think it comes back to, getting that holistic blueprint or that snapshot of where you are and then addressing it. Simple as that, which we don't do here in the United States.
So you're saying that as long as Sly's been on it, you've been on it for almost 20 years. You look the way you look and feel the way you feel. Sly looks the way he looks at 77, and he's still acting in Tulsa King every day and making new TV and new movies. He's still working out. He's still active in his reality show with his daughters and his family. And then you mentioned we have sick care here. Why didn't I know about this in 2004, 2005?
Well,
what do you mean by sick care? You're telling me that when I would go to the doctor that they want me to be sick because that's the only way Big Pharma makes money is to put 100%. Me on meds?
100%. There is no wellness in this country. You're slowly starting to see it now with what Robert F. Kennedy is bringing to the table with the Make America Healthy Again movement. You're starting to see more, regenerative medicine, anti-aging medicine, which is just simply getting ahead of things. Why would you wait? An example for you, like you have all these, preconditions in your head that you think about, oh, doing this is bad. If I take testosterone, I'm cheating, I'm this. But when you take it from a holistic view and you look at it, okay, I'm a hard charging, I don't know many people that work out 4 or 5 days a week, hunt, through the week, 10-day trips, travel crazy, come back home, still get their workouts. And if you're deficient in certain levels, you should be addressing that. You shouldn't be going to your doctor saying, hey, or if you do, you go to your doctor and say, hey, my energy levels are low, I'm not feeling this. They're not going to give you anything. They're not going to say, how many doctors say, hey, Chad, let's check your hormones and see how your testosterone. Have you ever heard that?
No.
Not one time. I've got guys, and this is the craziest thing we're seeing right now. The average young person in this country, age 25 to 30, has the testosterone levels of a 68-year-old man. I want to say that one more time for everybody listening. The average young person in this country has the testosterone levels, I'm talking about young men, of a 68-year-old man.
What's a young man? 18 to 25?
25 to 30.
And what is testosterone?
Testosterone is the single most important hormone in the male body, for sure. It helps with keeping your lean muscle, your energy levels. Your lean muscle provides your immunity. Your lean muscle provides your energy. Everything is tapped into testosterone. And again, estrogen plays an important role too. You want to have it balanced. But if you don't have these basic things right, your vitamin D levels, your vitamin B, vitamin K, and then testosterone, you start there and and of course, your diet, cholesterol, lipids, you look at those things, make some small adjustments, and you're home free.
So in 2025, why are 18 to 25-year-olds the same level as a 65-year-old man? Is it diet? Is it because we're not working out? Is it because we start getting fat when we're born? Why are our levels so low compared to what? When are you comparing them to, 70s and 80s?
Yeah, for sure. But let me say this. So you heard anybody that's watched, I don't know if anyone knows, what's his name? The crazy man. Who am I thinking about on the podcast? Alex Jones. Okay, you talk about Alex Jones. He was screaming one day, and people know this. He goes, they're making the frogs gay. They're making the frogs gay. Well, now, just a few weeks ago, comes out the FDA that there's so much estrogen in our water and products. What is estrogen? Estrogen is a female hormone, right? It's in birth control. We don't have the sophisticated enough systems to remove it from our water, right? So you're having toxins in our food, chemicals in our food, and hormones in our water that are everything you just nailed. Sedentary lifestyle, not moving as much as we used to, not nearly as many steps in a day. People aren't walking places. They're not outside. They're sitting on their phones, scrolling through social media for hours a day. I'm guilty of it. I do it. She knows. I get my workouts in. I get home 7, 8 o'clock. I'm playing on Reels or something like that. I'm sending stuff to you. I'm badgering you with whatever I can. And so you're just seeing a whole different dynamic in the way people are living. And so that's what's really caused young men is the toxins, chemicals, estrogen in the food has taken their levels down. And without anybody to give them any guidance, and I've been shocked, every young person we've tested has come in lower than the guys my age by a lot. I'm talking 180, 220. These are 30 and 35-year-old men. They should be nowhere. And you know what their doctor told them? This is a guy in my office, not to get in any HIPAA. I'll just say he was under 200. Doctor said he was fine. And he said, but doc, I'm not even in here's the range. It says 212 to 920. I'm not even, you're fine. No, you're not fine. So we get him in there, 2 shots a week for 2 weeks. He can't, I say to him, how do you feel? He goes, oh, boss, I can't even describe it. He goes, I feel so much better. energy, mental clarity, sexual function, lean muscle, losing a little bit of weight.
How old is he?
He's 40.
Yesterday, I had the blood work come back on a 22-year-old that I sent to Ryan, and I talked to him yesterday in the gym. And this kid is an athlete. Like, I've never seen vertical jump like this. I've never seen, like, this kid is.
I know what you're talking about.
He's a stud. And I said, so what was it? And he said 505, and I went, maybe it was 515. I don't remember exactly. But I'm like, man, it just seems low for 22. For a guy that's
22, you should be 900 to 1100, I think.
And this guy,
at least over 800.
But this guy's in great shape. He's not a scroller. He's working out all day. He's getting his steps in. He's doing explosiveness drills. He's got a lot of lean. So what gives? Why is his number down there? Is that genetics, or is that his diet?
No.
I know. I see him eating a lot of junk
chemicals
food.
and toxins in the food and the estrogen in the water.
Really?
It's 100%. That's what it is. That's what I'm a stand on. I'm telling you, I've been doing this now 15 years, talking to everybody, and I think what's going to be a very insane demographic to really introduce this to personally is Hispanics, Latinos, and I say this because of their diet. They drink a lot more soda. They eat a lot more, foods packed with kinds of chemicals and toxins. You don't see them drinking bottled water. You just see regular, normal, hard, gritty work ethic. They're just out there in the trenches. And I think that it's a byproduct of our environment of why their levels are so low. Any of those guys we've tested have been under 300, every single one of them. Blows my mind, and that's 100% diet.
Where were you when you were a world champion boxer? I remember posters of you where you were absolutely shredded, but I do know the power of Photoshop, which is probably what they did to you back then.
Let's just calm down.
Where were you? Because when you were fighting, you were shredded. You were working out a ton. You were going to Florida. You had training camps. You were on the Contender. You're on national TV. Then you fought for world titles. You won world titles. You held several belts. Yeah. You were probably at 900, over 1,200.
Not even close. Here's the thing. So anybody that does a little research, you can research Joey Gilbert on Google. You'll see I got busted by Athletic Commission because after meeting Sly, I'm getting all my levels checked. I was low 300s for testosterone. Always had it. Found out some of that stuff was genetic for me, but also just that I sat low. And a lot of it has to do when you burn yourself like athletes do. I think one of the amazing things about this platform and what we're going to talk about with TKO, and I hope with you that we can really reach out to retired professional athletes because and military guys, anybody that's that's in the trenches at 5 a.m. till 5 p.m. just burning the candle at both ends. I think you just max your body out, and that's what happens. And so I was 300, so I was taking everything you could think of. I'd go into GNC. Everybody remembers this, the black, the clear box. You had to get the key. They come over and take it out. So they had stuff in their testosterone booster. I didn't realize that 6-oxo and a few things I were using were actually on the banned list, and it would test for a metabolite of different steroids because they do stuff like this. I found out I spent tens of thousands of dollars testing supplements that they spike supplements with stuff that is not appropriate and not lawful so that you get a response from it. You buy more and it's not in that. It's a common practice you can read about called spiking.
So you're saying GNC was pulling the wool over our eyes all these years?
I'm saying that there were products out there that were not labeled properly, or that, again, in Nevada at the time, I got to be the guinea pig. They didn't use WADA or USADA or VADA or anything like that. They had no testing. They were running it through a simple drug panel that you would do for a pre-employment screening. So the levels were really low, and they would flag you. You could get flagged, and then you've got to get your B sample tested. What happened with me was my sample came out, and there was a bunch of shit in it. And until I had it taken and the B sample tested in an Olympic lab where it showed stuff was under, my life was destroyed. And so this stuff does happen. And what I was doing was what all the guys at my age level were doing. We were all taking this testosterone boosting stuff. So what happened was I went through that, not even knowing at the time there was something called a temporary use exemption that the UFC fighters were fighting under. You were allowed to use testosterone replacement as long as you didn't rise above a certain level. I think it was like 1,000 or something like that. So had I known that, I would have just simply filed my temporary use exemption and used it. Now I think they've gotten away with it because people were abusing it and going way too high. And so what I did was I finished boxing. I immediately knew I had a problem. I went right in and said, hey, how do I fix this? And so I did creams for a little while. I tried everything that we discussed. I tried to first do it naturally with HCG or enclomiphene, give your body an opportunity to try and produce more. I didn't rise more than 50 points. and they just said, hey, this is just, your body's not producing anymore. I switched to synthetic testosterone in 2011. I've never regretted it. I've used every different modality you can. I've tried pellets, I've tried cream, I've tried pills, and now I've settled in with just an intramuscular injection, which I do twice a week. I have no problem with it. You brush your teeth every day, you take your vitamins every day. For those of us that's not a big deal, it's no big deal to me. I do a quick injection and I feel great. And so that's what I recommend to people, is getting their blood work looked at and then addressing it either through their doctor or a different healthcare provider, but definitely do something.
So you live this lifestyle, you talk the talk, you walk the walk, but you've been doing it for close to 20 years, 15 years. Now you mentioned Kennedy and Maha and Make America Healthy Again. Talk to me a little bit about the inception of how you start to come up with this idea, because you're always recommending healthy lifestyle to people. You're always, your daughter is very active in the gym. She's a great athlete, but I've known you for a long time and I've worked out with you a lot, and I've seen how the results you get because of what you put into a workout and how you're always pushing people to get those results. So now you have the mindset as a businessman and the entrepreneurial spirit to bring this to the forefront finally. Did you sit on it for a while because you didn't think the timing was right? Tell me how the idea of what we're going to talk about today, TKO, which I assume is coming from boxing, which I learned it didn't, but it's to know oneself, right?
Yep.
And to what you're talking about, that blueprint, that kind of that forensic audit, if you will, of of your body, of what you're made up of, and then adapt from there of what you need to get healthy or to stay healthy. How does it come into your mind to start TKO? Where is it born because of Sly? Did you start thinking of it way back then?
So I've always wanted to bring something to the market that's driven towards health and wellness. Didn't know what it was. It's been in my mind for 20, 25 years. Well, but what happened was there was a little thing that took place in 2020 we all remember. Some people call it the pandemic. I will always call it the plandemic. I think it was the biggest scam ever run on the human population. I think people should be in jail. It's all coming out. And so in 2020, I made a stand. I just saw it. To me, it didn't make sense. You know, they're saying something that 99% of the population wouldn't die from. Why are we all, businesses being shut down? Why aren't kids playing sports? Meanwhile, I'm in Florida. They have full sports, full everything. Come back out to Nevada, blue state. The kids can't go to school, highest suicide rates in the nation. So there were some things that were really alarming to me. But the real thing that really took shape for me was prior to the pandemic, and this foreshadows what I'm getting into. As a lawyer, everybody wanted to meet you in the office. They didn't want to do a video call. They didn't want to do a Zoom. They didn't want to do a conference call. They wanted to meet you in the office. Then the pandemic hits, and we're having to do remote stuff for everything. So they move all hearings go remote on Zooms. Well, now I can't get a client in the office. All clients want to do is do their Zoom. If they can get a Zoom call with you, it's just as good as a meeting for about 90%. There's still the 10% that want to come in and have that face-to-face, which I'm always happy to do. So why I'm telling you this is I'm kind of looking at this going, wow, man, this is really a big shift in this country. We're seeing really important matters like healthcare and let me say this, like law shifting to this, to where a technology platform. And so I'm kind of sitting there thinking, wow, this is interesting. Then I hook up with an organization called America's Frontline Doctors. And we start, saving lives by offering medication that is, being frowned upon by big tech and by the fake news media because it's so effective. So we have a telemed platform, and on this platform, we move, millions of dollars over this platform. And it was very simple. It was my first introduction to telemed. People are just clicking a little link. They're talking to a doctor. Doctor's doing a quick, and I'm going, wait a second. This is allowed, where they made all these rules, these conditions, emergency protocols that allowed for it. And so that's what kicked it off. Then it just stayed. After people found that you can use telemed for actual medicine, it just stayed. And so basically in 2021, I'm going, well, this is interesting, man. Like, geez, man, the number one problem I have with any friend I ever try to say, hey, get your blood work done, go do this. I mean, I don't have time. I don't have a doctor. I don't even know where to go. I don't have insurance. And so it was something in my mind. I kept saying, God, you know what, man, what if I was to take a wellness model and do the same thing I just saw here, find doctors that are willing to do a call for me, talk to my client, my future clients, and tell them, this is what we're going to do, get some blood work. And that's really what born of it. And we weren't doing blood work or anything with America's Frontline Doctors. We were just doing a doctor visit via Zoom or via a phone call that gave these people what they wanted access to. So that was the principle I ran with. So 2022, I run for governor. The governor primary ends in June. I take Galecki, and I just kind of like was, very, upset, just discouraged. It was a tough fight. I really was excited to step into that role. I thought I would be. And so then for a year, from about July of 22 to July of 23, my mind's just turning, and I'm kind of thinking about things. And I have a friend of mine who says, hey, I'm going to make a play on a website, hgh.com. And he just tells me, he goes, if I get this thing, I'd love you to be CEO. And here's an idea I have. He wanted to do testosterone. Well, I'm still thinking like, yeah, testosterone's great, but I want a big impact. I want a big profile. I don't want to just get people this. I want to look at their whole picture and really address all their needs holistically. How do I do that? So then I start using, all the tools we have today. I'm playing on AI. I'm playing on ChatGPT. I'm building decks, and I'm looking at it. And you can do so much amazing stuff with AI. I'm doing, SWOT analysis of other competitors. I'm seeing where they're at. I saw where they were having problems. I saw, for example, we've designed a home test, which you'll see is going to roll out in the next couple of weeks. We can mail you something now that you see on Instagram. You put it in your arm, you pop it in, and you leave it there for a few minutes, and it fills 2 little vials of blood, and you just put those in their little packages, seal them, and mail them in. From the second you scan it and mail it in, it's being tracked, showing up on your phone and via email that your blood's been received, blood's now being tested, then your results populate as soon as it's done, doctor gets the same thing, and now you have your call. So when I really looked at the competition, what was out there, I just did what anybody would do. How can I improve it and do it better? What are the pinch points? What would I do differently? I've got some great friends and resources. I can tap into influencers and people. And that's really how this got born, was of the idea of, hey, times have changed. If you can actually do, real telemed visits on a platform like this, where people don't have to leave their house or can sit in their car and on their phone, and everyone's experienced it now that's been a part of this platform, that would be really exciting. So that's what got me moving, was I wanted to be able to deliver something it was my pushback to anybody, even like you, Mr. Belding, that, oh man, I travel, I don't have time to do this, I don't have time to do that. Get your blood work. You can get it anywhere. Chad, you can be in Tennessee and walk into a LabCorp. Just get me the damn blood work. And that was that. Now it's like, man, where are you going to be in 2 days? I'm going to mail you a test, and you're going to stick it in your arm, and then 3 days later, I'm going to have your results. When you can start doing that kind of stuff with medicine, which is what was available now, that's what made me say, okay, now it's time. And so I do think we entered the space at the perfect time, because even as much as you're seeing on social media and as much as we're talking about it right now, we haven't scratched the surface. We have not scratched the surface on what we're really going to see in the next decade. And again, I've sent you books. They're saying the peptide industry is going to be a $75 billion industry by 2030. And we're at the beginning of it. And we've wedged ourselves in with 2 different, companies, one that's going to address your stuff holistically, and then another one that's going to have access to these resources, to peptides. And so I think by combining those 2 side by side, one's the platform where you're speaking to a doctor, getting blood work and getting actual medical guidance. Now you've got your picture, you've got your snapshot. Now it's up to you. What do you want to do? And I'm not a doctor, and I'm not, trying to, pretend I'm a doctor, but I will just say that peptides are short chain amino acids that act as messengers in your body that simply tell your body and cells, hey, you need more of this, or hey, we need to repair this. That's all it is. So look it up. And I tell people, do a little research. And if you see stuff out there, hey, that looks like something might work for me, you're not dealing with some crazy, big pharma drug that's got a list of side effects on it that could basically kill you. You use a little too much of a peptide, you might get some diarrhea or a headache. That's about it. So for me, it was a platform that would provide access to things that I am very comfortable with because of how safe I believe they are, and I believe the data is going to show over time. And that's what made me feel comfortable enough to step in the space and say, you know what? I'm going to stand on my business, and I might not be an expert yet, but I'll tell you something. I'm pouring through a book, a trip. Every time I take a trip, I'm going, cover to cover on a peptide book or listening to it on an audio book. And I've never been more convinced as I am today that this is the future for medicine and for healthcare in Nevada, and not Nevada, in the nation. And I'd say optimize wellness worldwide. And you're seeing this everywhere as places pop up across the globe. They're saying chain gyms are going to die. And you're going to see, I mean, you know, my goal with TKO Wellness is to have it to know yourself wellness spa, where you walk in it and you've got your red light therapy, your cold plunge, you know, your sauna, your ozone therapy, anything you want. You know, hot yoga, it'll have a smaller weight room that's more dialed in. And then I'd like to see an outside area with some grass where you can push sleds, run, to actually do stuff where you're getting your body up. But you're not going to see these huge gym chains anymore. They're going to die. And people are going to be driven towards more of this regenerative, you know, optimized wellness type profiles. And I think guys like us are going to absolutely kill it because of how we live and the leadership we're showing by getting in now saying, guys, this is where you need to be, and we're walking the walk and not just talking the talk. And I think it's going to usher in an entire optimized wellness revolution. I don't like to say healthcare. I like to say optimized wellness revolution is coming based on these principles.
So as far as the business concept goes, and you birth TKO Vitality, how do you protect yourself? Because you just said it's everywhere. Yeah. Tony Robbins is talking about it. Gary Breck is talking about it. I mean, it's being talked about from everybody from Rogan on down the list.
Sure.
So isn't there just going to be a ton of competition in the space? Aren't you worried that you're going to have to compete all over the country? Or is there a way to protect yourself in this? As a businessman, what sets TKO Vitality and Wellness apart from being just another offering or another platform where somebody can go get a peptide?
Well, I think what we're going to do differently, and we're already doing differently, is the coaching and the providing of information. I think one of the biggest things is this is still a fringe area, and people are not comfortable. They have trepidation. They're apprehensive about getting started on this stuff. And I think one of the things lacking, and it's what I centered on when I built this, was there was no there was no coaching. There was no answering of questions. You know, you sign up for one of these things, you join a membership and you get something monthly. You're just having something mailed to you monthly. You got to figure it out on your own. Sure, there's a video. Sure, there's this. But one thing we've done at TKO, we have patient care reps that are assigned to you, that you now build a relationship with, that are tracking your blood work, that are going to say to you, hey, Chad, it's been 3 months. Let's run your blood panels again. And someone like you that's not only involved in this, but really loving it and excited to see how your labs are improved, are going to run right out the door that day when maybe you were a pain in the ass 6 months ago to get these labs. You're going to say, oh, hell yeah, I want to see where I'm at. And then when you get these labs back and you see improvements in all your metrics, you're going to love that. And so I think what we're going to do differently, and what we are doing differently, and what we're staffing to do, is to make sure that people don't get lost in the noise, that they have a partner in this process with them. So when they sign up, it's not just like, thanks for your money, bye. It's people are going to be following up with you as often as you want. We try to do it weekly. We've got our guys, Amy, Ryan, Christian, we've added people, are calling these folks and saying, hey, how you doing? Some people are like, I'm good, I don't need a call. Other people call us every other day. Some people pop in the office just to talk or just to ask questions. And I want to make sure that this platform always stays like that. And we're building all that tech in, because what you're seeing is there are chatbots. There's AI out there that basically, and this was so exciting. I was on a golf course a couple weeks ago. A guy's telling me how he just built an AI bot for doctors' offices. When you ask this platform questions about your medical background, it's already read your chart. Mr. Belding, your labs from last time was this. So when you say to me, yeah, my testosterone was 780 last time I've done this, what do you think about that? You know, one of my concerns, my father had a heart condition. I'm worried about this. You know, we've already addressed this. What do you think? It will actually pull your file, have read your labs, read your new labs, and chart something back out to you that when you have a doctor then look at, they go, holy shit. That's spot on. And actually it went down 10 levels. I wouldn't even have said that. That's what we're tapping into. And that's what I'm making available to the TKO platform, what we're building. And no one has that. None of them. I think everybody else is out there just to get in on what's going to be an enormous opportunity. But I don't think they're doing it the way I'd like to see it done, which is that more personal, care. And that one, it's not a one size fits all. At TKO Vitality, we're looking at you as an individual person, case by case basis, and saying, yeah, hey, you know what? Like you brought up, are there genetic things involved here? Health concerns. What is different for Chad Belding that's different from someone like Joey Gilbert? How do we address that for you? And that's the difference with what we're doing. And of course, yeah, there's competition, but I think that we're going to be able to jump in front of it. I'm talking about you and me personally with just the Rolodexes we have, getting the right people introduced to it that are going to talk about it and bring people to it. And I think, yeah, it's going to be a fight, but I do think when it's all said and done and the smoke clears, there's going to be a ton of companies that ran in with no plan and just wanted to provide quick access to some of these materials, but didn't have the follow-up and the platform to like roll in behind them to make sure you stay with us. Because where I'm really going with this, and I've talked to my doctors about it, and one of our doctors, our medical director, Joe Palumbo in Ohio, said, Joey, I love this. He goes, do you realize that when you build this comfort with this platform, we can see anybody for anything? So Chad Beldine's hunting in Arkansas 4 or 5 months from now, when you're sick, got a sore throat, hurting, all of a sudden you dial into our platform, you see a doctor, doc, I got this. He's ordering you your zithromycin, your doxycycline, you're picking it up at a Walmart or a CVS in Arkansas and taking it off what you're doing on a Zoom call. All that's going to be possible because it's a confirmatory test. No doctor tests in their office anymore. So when you go to a doctor, what do? They give you a lab slip. They send you to LabCorp. Why do I need to have these extra steps for busy people that are already got a schedule? Now that they get to their doctor's office to pick up a lab slip, to go get a lab, to come back to the doctor with them, to have them tell them what we already knew. I had a sore throat. I picked something up. You've already made a call to someone you trust because they're handling everything. They've called you in your meds and you never left the duck blind. Shit, you had someone go pick it up for you and bring it to you. That's where we're headed with this. And that's what I really want to do. I want to take TKO and expand it to all wellness. So anything you have, and here's the thing I'll tell you, I was lifting a little too heavy in the gym back in March. I was trying to compete with the bigger gentlemen like you that are throwing more weight around. So I was on pec deck and I put on the most amount of weight it had so I could show the big guys in the gym I could also do it. Well, I thought I tore my labrum, right? So I have a tear in my labrum and I get the MRI. They say there's a tear and I'm on my way to the Dominican Republic. I don't know that this, and you know this, the Dominican Republic's like a feeder system for Major League Baseball. They have all kinds of shoulder specialists there. So I get there, I'm playing around because I'm 3 hours ahead. I flew from Nevada to Dominican Republic. So I'm on West Coast time and I can't sleep. It's 12 at night. So I'm typing into just Google, PRP, which is platelet therapy. And I'm just, for shoulder injury. All of a sudden, I put in a little query, and then the next thing you know, 6 a.m., I get a phone call from a 619 number, which is San Diego. Guy answers, goes, hey, did you just fill out a thing? Oh, yeah, we have one of the best facilities. It's in Santo Domingo. Dr. So-and-so Vargas. Go in there. I go into this place, and before I left let me back up. Before I left for the Dominican Republic, I brought some BP 157 and some TB 500, which is known for healing. I bring it with me. I start myself on that. I go in there. I get PRP and prolotherapy done. I walk out of that visit with zero pain. I couldn't lift my right shoulder above my head without it hurting. I couldn't go back. Pain-free, I walk out of there. I come back to my specialist, which I was a month out from seeing. I got the MRI, but I couldn't get in to see the specialist for a month, even with our connections. Now they said, yeah, we have, if there's a cancellation, I said, I'm leaving for the Dominican Republic. I'm not going to be here. Okay, well, we'll see when you get back. I get back from the Dominican Republic. I go in to see this doctor and she goes, I don't know what you did, but this is great. You don't need anything. I would just lighten the weights and, ease up on things for a little bit. You're good. It's now been 3 or 4 months from what they thought was a torn labrum, which would have been surgery or something else, 100% pain-free, back to everything I'm doing based on that. So that's where we're headed. And that's the excitement about what I'm talking about, is that technology and medicine has moved forward like that. And with what RFK is doing to make sure all your medical records are synchronized. Now, I know some people get scared and they say then everyone's got access to all your data. Here's a newsflash. They do already. Look at what the NSA can get. They've got everything on us. Anybody that's got a TSA pre-check thing, you don't even know what type of stuff you've signed away on. They can look at your social media. They can look at your phones. They can do anything. So the stuff's already out there. This just made it so much easier. And I'll tell you, all that stuff I had done, in the Dominican Republic, I get back here, they don't even offer PRP with prolotherapy in the same place. You have to go to different places. So how does a place like that offer this kind of medical, I guess forward thinking, and we don't even have it here in the United States? Why do you got to go to Colombia, Panama, and Mexico for stem cells? All right. So all this stuff, like when I say we've scratched the surface, hasn't even landed here. I'm looking forward to about 2035 when you walk into people and it's like normal stuff. Yeah, man, my testosterone levels are great. I've been checking my blood. I think that's where we're headed.
Do you think through what you're describing with your physical ailment, like for example, your shoulder and what happened in the Dominican and San Diego, what about pre-existing conditions on the other side of the medical part of of internal medicine, I would compare it to. Cholesterol, high blood pressure, diabetes, stuff like that is very rampant in America. Statins, being on Zoloft, being on things that cause side effects. Do you think through hormone optimization and peptides that we could see a decrease in the need for that type of medicine in the future?
Let me tell you something. Whenever you see big pharma stand against anything, so BP157, body composition formula, so it's a body composition peptide. So what does it really do? It heals these things. Okay, there was a 60% drop in orthopedic surgeries over a 2-year period. That's why they got rid of it. Okay, we're talking about it right now. The largest employer in the United States is healthcare. All right, we are the sickest, most overweight, obese nation on the planet. More money goes into healthcare than anything else, and we're getting sicker. So something's wrong, right? Something's wrong. When I tell people here's the thing I tell people about. For example, we talk about tirzepatide. We talk about some of these weight loss peptides that help you lose weight. And what do? They help you with feeling full, with your appetite suppression, with regulating glucose, blood sugar, insulin levels. What are we seeing from this stuff now? Well, you have to wind it back. RFK is exposing all these food companies. Do you know that they are putting additives, they are putting synthetic peptides into foods that turn off your satiating feelings, meaning that they have basically drugs is what we'll call them. They have chemicals they're adding to foods that shut off your body from saying, I'm full. I don't need any more salt. I don't need any more sugar. I don't need any more, reckless, worthless carbs. So you have food companies, that's the whole supersize stuff, where our fries are this big, our drinks are this big, our chip bags are this big. Everything is supersized, right? They've added stuff to our food. So what I try to tell people all the time, and this is probably the most important part of this podcast, it's not your fault. And I know people want to think, people think, oh, Joey, you're telling fat people, that they have a pass. No, what I'm saying is when you get 10, 15 pounds overweight in this country, you are absolutely screwed. There's no way out. You're in a hole. You cannot I'll tell you why you can't get out of it. The chemicals and additives in our food, unless you're a freak of mental conditioning and you can take yourself calorie deficient, basically starve yourself and get in some cardio and live a miserable life for 2 or 3 months to get that weight off, it's never coming off. And we all have these people, anyone listening right now, you see these folks in the gym, they break my heart. I've been in the same, you and I have done the same thing. We have different gyms we pop into. I go into gyms, I see these people, it's been 5 or 10 years. They haven't changed their body, their physical body has not changed. But here they are on that treadmill every day for 30 minutes. Here they are doing some resistance training. They can't get that 15 or 20 pounds off. It's not their fault. It really is the chemicals, toxins, sedentary lifestyle. So once you're in this place, unless you use something like this to get out, you're not getting out. And why I wanted to bring this up is when I bring up something like tirzepatide, which is a dual agonist, a GLP-1 focuses on you're feeling full and on the speed that your body is processing that food. So you feel full longer. Well, when you bring in tirzepatide, which is a dual agonist, tirzepatide then focuses on your insulin, on your blood sugar, and it adjusts those so you don't have these spikes and you don't have these cravings, and it shuts down the food noise. So when you add these things to it, now remember what I said, the food companies are putting in the exact opposite. We have this stuff in our body naturally. People didn't eat this way 30, 40 years ago. People didn't eat portions that are this big. You didn't get a fry that was this big and a big soda like this. So what we're noticing with the tirzepatide profile is people are consuming less.
What is tirzepatide? Is it a weight loss?
Tirzepatide
is another word for Ozempic?
It's a dual agonist. So tirzepatide, the weight loss ones you're seeing out there, GLP-1s. A GLP-1 is a single agonist that makes you feel
Is that
full
what
longer.
Ozempic is?
That's what Ozempic is. Ozempic is a GLP-1, strictly GLP-1.
Is it a peptide?
It's a peptide. And I don't like it because I think that the side effects from a GLP-1, just a GLP-1, are a little more concerning. I think when you add in other peptides or add in other, chains to that peptide, like tirzepatide, it gives you more bang for your buck. And like I said, it's regulating insulin and blood sugar levels and glucose, and you're not seeing these spikes, and you're not having the cravings. So it shuts down the food noise.
Is it available to the public?
It is available to the public.
Is it through Big Pharma like Ozempic is?
Well, of course it is. Big Pharma's making they're trying to shut down Big Pharma right now. Eli Lilly is fighting like hell to get tirzepatide off the market because of how well it's working. Let me tell you something real quick. You brought up statins and lipids and cholesterol.
Yeah, how does somebody get off of them?
You transition is what I would say. You slowly, you take a look at yourself holistically, and you go to a doctor that knows what the hell they're talking about. And you say, hey, I want to get off this. Is there other stuff I can try that's going to work for this? And now when my father, who's going to be working for us here soon, he went to it was so funny, after 2 years of me sending him everything on tirzepatide and different weight loss shots, and him telling me he didn't like them, they weren't safe. Now he comes back and says, son, I'm blown away. You know, like virtually almost this entire country should be on this stuff because what it can do for type 2 diabetes, what it can do for cholesterol. They're seeing this affect sleep apnea.
What, say that again, your dad, what is he talking about?
He's talking about...
Is it a combination of everything, or is it just one specific one that he's referring to?
He was originally talking about GLP-1s in general speaking, that he didn't like some of the stuff it did. I kept sending him stuff on tirzepatide and retatrutide and some of the new stuff coming out. Say, Dad, read this. And he's ridiculously smart. He can read this stuff, and what we look at is a bunch of really long words and stuff we don't understand. He looks at it, he goes, that makes sense. And so I'm going like, I said, so Dad, what do you think? He goes, I think everybody should be on it. He goes, honestly, with as fat and unhealthy as this country is, I mean, you guys know my father, you know, retired lieutenant colonel in the Marine Corps. He does not mince words or punches. He speaks very directly. And he just said, I am really blown away by what these products are able to do for your general wellness. So to answer your question, I think by exposing people to this stuff and switching people onto this optimized wellness type of mindset and type of platform, we're going to get them off all that shit. And that's my answer. This platform is built, you know, I won't say secretly, but in the back of my brain and in my heart, where I really wanted to take this was to get folks off these prescription drugs that are killing them and have so many side effects. It's not good for them. And that's what we're doing with this
Besides
platform.
aesthetically, though, on the weight loss part, what are the benefits of what you're discussing right now internally because, you know, statins, cholesterol, all of that stuff's internal.
Sure.
Blood pressure medicine, diabetes, all of that. Is something fighting our internal system?
Yes.
Fat wise also,
Everything.
or is it all for aesthetics?
No, it's everything that they are putting in our foods, that they're spraying in our skies, is affecting our body. It's affecting our plants. It's affecting the algae, the birds. Everything is being affected by what this country, what this world is doing, what's being pumped out into it in forms of chemicals. Some purposely, some is just, you know, doing business. But it absolutely, you hear it all the time. It's hormone disruptors. I mean, when you've got young men, because of estrogen, having low testosterone levels, it's all because of what's in our food and what's in our environment. So we're addressing those things. It's like we just talked about a minute ago. We brought up nicotine. Every human being, just like cannabinoid receptors in your body, you have nicotine receptors. Where do you get your nicotine from? From dark shade vegetables. Those are your broccoli and your tomatoes and stuff. But then you got to go back. You know, you could pick up a book anywhere. They say it would take 4 to 6 organic apples of today to equal the same nutrient, minerals, and stuff that were in apples from our parents' age, because the soil's depleted, the chemicals are in there. So we're just not getting what we need. And what we're doing with this platform is giving your body back the things it needs, that it naturally should have, that's been wiped out by the toxins and chemicals that are being purposely put into our foods and being prescribed to us by our doctors. So what we're trying to do is holistically get folks off the bad stuff and onto natural compounds, holistic compounds that are going to give them that high quality optimized wellness.
Is there, back to the aesthetic question, and I understand what you're saying with the optimizing and the wellness, is internally, what is my body telling me? Because if you watch a commercial for weight loss, if you look at over the years of the marketing and weight loss, whether it was Jenny Craig or Richard Simmons sweating to the oldies, everybody wanted to look good.
Sure.
But I'm just as concerned about internally of how my body is reacting on the inside. Talk to me a little bit about what being obese, being overweight, 20, 25, 30 pounds, the fat on the inside to your internal organs, whether it's your heart, whether it's your kidney, whether it's your liver, whatever it is, what is something like tirzepatide going to do for me internally? And I understand that you're going to shed pounds, but what does that mean internally? Am I getting healthier on the inside also?
You absolutely are. It's removing that visceral fat.
What's visceral fat?
Visceral fat is the fat that's basically surrounding your organs, that's deeper, that's deposited everywhere, that's happening from this lifestyle, the sedentary lifestyle, the chemicals in your food. Where does your body store bad chemicals? In your fat. That's one of the reasons why Americans are getting so overweight. There's so much garbage being pumped into our food. Your body doesn't have very many ways to clean it. People's kidneys are getting destroyed, people's livers are getting destroyed, and they have so much bad shit stored in their fat. So what we're doing is we're taking we're taking people's ability to process bad stuff and getting it out of them. When you're not carrying that much visceral fat that's surrounding all your organs, you're going to be infinitely more healthy. Obviously, it's like my dad was talking about. They're even seeing terzepatide affect people's sleep apnea because it's fat deposits that are pumped all around your body. Fat is also inflammation. When you've got fat in your upper body, face, throat, everywhere, that's all affecting you. Especially when you have a reduced airway. When you look at something like sleep apnea, it's for me specifically, I've got sleep apnea. They tell me it's from all the trauma to my face and for boxing, that all the blows. I mean, I've had 14 nasal fractures that we can count. More concussions than I know about. I had 4 septioplasties to rebuild my nose. So I've got a bunch of trauma and inflammation in my nose. I add any extra fat or extra weight up there, I've already got a small airway. That's why they're noticing such a
Are
huge
you on
difference.
a CPAP?
I do use a CPAP.
But looking at you, you would never think. So that has to be from your boxing.
Mine's from my boxing. I've done, and again, I'm a different deal. I've been through all the testing. I've been into the sleep studies where they actually put you out. I had to go to the hospital where they put me under to confirm it's an actual blockage of something in your body.
Have CPAPs given overweight males and females in our country an excuse or leverage of saying, man, I feel better. I'm sleeping through the night. I'm not waking up, or my heart's not stopping 60 times an hour, whatever it was during the sleep test. Do you think that the CPAP industry is giving people I don't need to lose weight, I'm sleeping better? Because to me, I see a lot of people that are on CPAPs. Most of them are overweight.
Yeah.
So does it give you that ability to, in your opinion, is it kind of an excuse of instead of going to the gym and living healthier and maybe working with somebody like TKO Vitality, it's just an easy fix?
It's an easy fix. And also, some of these folks are really overweight and they're just not, most of these people I've experienced, they've tried. They just haven't been able to get the results. And again, when you talk about aesthetics, there's something really to speak of. And anybody that's, 10, 15, 20 pounds overweight, when you talk about Zoloft or these other prescription medications that people on, let's go back to Deion Sanders, okay? If you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you perform good. If you perform good, you achieve your goals. And I think one of the things I've noticed overwhelmingly, when people get this stubborn weight off, when they start feeling better, it's not just this dad bod anymore. We got guys that are afraid to take their shirt off at the beach. They're afraid to come to the pool party because they're fat. When you get that little bit of weight off, and not only are you looking better, you're feeling better. That's an entire profile change, okay? When you feel more secure about yourself, imagine how you then steam into your day. Presentation, stuff at work, traveling for work. You just feel, people look at you differently. They treat you differently. All that affects your mental state like you can't imagine. And that's the thing I've noticed the most is the calls I've gotten. The original founding, people that we brought on this platform were all good friends. I've got guys that I lived with in college, and I just told this story the other day. It got me choked up. I got emotional. This is one of my very best dear friends. He calls me. He was patient zero, and he was waiting for 6 months for this thing to go live. And I finally said, Mikey, we're ready. He went on it. Almost 2 months to the day, I was at Walden's coffee shop getting a coffee, and he floated into my mind. So I called him. I said, hey man, I just want to check on you. And I said, how you doing? He goes, brother, I don't even know what to say. He said, I've never felt like this. He goes, I'm in the gym now 4 days a week. I've changed my diet because they're feeling healthier and they've got more energy and they just feel better about themselves. It's done a switch. Now they're going to the gym more. Now they're eating better because of the results they've got both internally and mentally, how they feel. And he said, I've been trying to do this since we lived together in college. He couldn't get this 15 to 20 pounds off. And he wasn't a slouch. He'd make it to the gym a couple times a week. He would try to regulate his diet. Now, I could never imagine hearing this guy tell me, I'm in the gym 4 and 5 days a week and my diet's phenomenal. I only eat what I need because of how it makes me feel, my performance. I'm not worrying about anything else. He would have never achieved this without that. It never would have happened. So I think it has such a more profound effect, aesthetically for sure, but that energy, that cognitive function, the depression's gone, anxiety's gone, you feel better about yourself, you're able to perform better, you have better energy. So if your energy levels are better and your patience is you've got more patience and you've got more drive and determination, you're just going to be a better human being. And so I think that's what I really love hearing more than anything. Sure, I love to see the guys that send us pictures or come in and say, yeah, I've lost weight. But as guys that say, man, I feel so much better. My wife, my family loves being around me again because I'm not this angry, out of shape, miserable prick that's got no energy at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And you know this. There's as much as stuff as I talk here. I was just telling her last night that I was laughing. I said, I'm a fraud because last night it's like, 12 at night and we're having cheese and fruit in the kitchen and we're just eating. I laughed though. I said, but what did I say on the podcast? I said, I've removed the other garbage, the chips or the other stuff.
There's nothing wrong with cheese and grapes, is there?
There really isn't. I mean, now time for everything, but still, if you're going to have something as a midnight snack, having some cheese and grapes is not going to be the end of it.
It's better than Taco Bell, Joey.
It's better than Taco Bell. It's better than chips. It's better than, what are you saying? Drinking? Better than drinking. Oh yeah.
Drinking alcohol?
That is,
I disagree with that.
We'll get into that because we're going to have a Chad Belding. I think we're going to have a, what do you call that? Intervention. Because
wait a minute, you're making my audience sound like I have a problem.
I don't think you have a problem. I just think
problem.
You drink a little too much. I don't like the amount of alcohol I see you drink. And I just, as your friend,
you're never with me.
I'm with you enough.
At an Aaron Lewis concert?
I'm with you enough.
I think you're boring for not having a cocktail at an Aaron Lewis concert. I think you're boring as shit.
I know, but we're going to get into this, and I'm going to keep bombarding you. I've been bombarding my little friend over here with some stuff, and she just throws it back at me. But when you see 2-3 drinks, a couple times a week.
Oh, there's no doubt.
Well, dude, I'm just saying for your overall performance, it's not going to hurt you.
But if you see what 2 or 3 drinks make me do on the dance floor, then it's a balance.
And I do agree with that because you've got moves. You got more moves than Jamaica's got mangoes. Let's just get that out there.
So here's a little testimonial for me, and I want to transition into a couple. You can't even use the word transition in our country anymore. It's like when I want to transition subjects, I don't want people to think that I really mean that I'm trying to transition.
No, yeah,
and that's really happening a lot. Okay, so I got on some of the things that I want to get into now, and one of them, Samoralin. Is that how you pronounce it?
Samoralin.
I'm going to say something that might sound kind of weird, but one of the things that when I read up on it is my sleep, right? Of being able to get a really good night's rest. Of like, I work out really, really hard.
Yeah.
And the recovery is so important to me. But a lot of nights with my type A personality, I find myself, my mind goes, oh wait, I got to get my phone and write myself an email.
Yep.
I got to be thinking all the time, right? I'm always I got like 30 emails every morning from myself of ideas I had the night before. But now, and I just did it last night. Okay. I'm doing Samoralin like 5 days a week, a small dosage. I'm skipping Sunday and Monday, and I'm doing it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And you bring up drinking. I have a lifestyle to where alcohol is involved in some of my lifestyle. One of the enhancements of Samoralin that I'm seeing is the effects of that don't trigger me at all during the next day in a negative way. But more importantly, my sleep, and I don't know if this is a case for this, is it a peptide or is it just what is it? It is. I've never dreamed in my life. I mean, I've had dreams, but I don't dream when I'm sleeping. I'm dreaming every night that I take this stuff. I'm in such a deep sleep that when I wake up, I literally had to check my phone because part of my dream last night, I was going through a business email with a company that I just had a presentation with on Monday. And they wrote me back an email that said, congratulations, our venture capitalist fund is going to take your company on. And when I woke up, I went to look at that email to return it and it wasn't there. And I was like, holy shit, my dreams are so vivid.
That's awesome.
My sleep, I woke up, maybe even a little bit of slobber, like I'm sleeping deep. So I think that what I'm saying is that I never experienced that before the Samoralin. I feel great every day. At the very beginning of this week, Joey, my ass hurt so bad from lifting weights last week. I went through some workouts last week that were just with some squats and some explosiveness drills. I could barely sit down. I'm telling you, after Tuesday and I got back on the Samoralin, like I'm right here, like I have zero pain in my quads, my IT bands,
but you
my
know
calves.
what Samoralin is though, right? So Samoralin is a growth hormone secretolog. It helps your body produce growth hormone. And let me just take you back for a second. Remember when we were younger, we could go out. I mean, you remember this. We would go out. I would be out till 5, 6 in the morning. I would sleep for 2 hours. I would be at practice or training like that. Okay. This takes us back to young people. Back in the day, what was high when you were younger? Your growth hormone levels were through the roof. Your testosterone was through the roof. Those little things didn't affect you like that anymore. A workout like that, you bounce back from way easier. Now we're not doing anything crazy. We're just taking a peptide that focuses on regeneration, repair, sleep, lean muscle, okay, and because it's affecting your growth hormone levels. So you're actually starting, and again, it takes a little bit of time. For some people, I think it can be almost immediate, but I usually think it takes a couple weeks and you start feeling it.
I'm 6 weeks in.
That's well, you should be in a perfect little sweet spot. And again, you can check this everywhere. You're doing it perfectly, 5 days on, 2 days off. You can stay on this Samoralin and stuff like this for as long as you live.
What are the side effects?
There's zero.
So back to what I was ending my statement with of the muscles of protocol that I do every day of rolling out, cold plunging, whatever it is, right? I'm telling you that even with protocol, and I'm talking consistent discipline protocol that like your mindset's like mine. My daughter, she just made another high level traveling national team, right? Which sucks in a way because of the money that it's going to cost me throughout the next 9 months. But to see her elevate herself in athletics is a big part of her mindset, but her mindset allows her to do this protocol. Her nutrition at 14 years old is unbelievable. I can't believe it, right? It's way better than I ever was. But what I'm seeing through protocol personally at this stage in my life, it's not enough. I do it. I roll out my T-bands, I roll out my quads, I roll out my calves, and they still fucking hurt. I'm not saying that I'm injury prone, like if I'm going to pull a hamstring, they're that tight. I'm saying that even through protocol on my normal workout schedule, I'm not getting the pain relief that I need. I'm not getting the recovery that I need. This what you just called this supplement of like a human growth hormone, Samoralin, it's like watching the movie Cocoon. I'm doing things in the gym. My power levels in the gym right now of explosiveness and exercises. Like just yesterday, I tested on chest press. Blew every personal record that I've ever had out of the water on power. I'm not talking about just weight, the amount of weight I'm lifting. I'm talking about the amount of power I have behind my push. I shouldn't be doing that at 50 compared to where I'm better than I was at 35 and 40.
Well, see, and I'm going to disagree with that. I think we all should. I think that's what we're supposed to. You didn't, you used to joke about it, man strength. Guys until their 70s were just freaks.
Yeah.
They're just so strong. And especially as you got a little older, you had that man strength. I think that, again, all we're simply doing is bringing this back, bringing your body holistically back to where Chad Belding should be able to perform. And again, but for those listening out there, you are a little bit of a unique duck. Your workouts are not your garden variety workout. You do pretty awesome workouts. So I think some of that is you do push it more than the average bear. And you're going to see that because you aren't in there just doing 3 little exercises. You are doing explosive drills. I've been with you for years in training, and I've loved it because, we push each other. But you're doing a little different. But that even being said, I do think that if you just simply give your body what it needs and address where you're deficient in, you're going to have results like this.
Well, my point is even as hard as what you're describing my workouts are, I wasn't getting the recovery that I needed. And now my sleep and my pain relief and my recovery and my muscles feeling good, it's night and day. I'm just saying simply of getting the mindset or getting that disruptor out of my mind of like, I'm never going to do that kind of stuff. I mean, one of my best friends in the world is Dan Hendo Henderson, one of the greatest UFC strike force MMA fighters of all time. I mean, he put Pride on the map by going to Japan and whipping people's asses. And he's been on this stuff since he was 35. Now he's 54.
Yep.
And he's been telling me, you got to do this, you got to do that. He's into this lifestyle. And now I'm seeing like, man, what did I miss? Chad Mendez, Money Mendez, telling me about this stuff 10 years ago. Yep. He looks incredible for almost being 40.
I think you're going to be able to wind back the clock considerably by doing this now. And this is our hope. Our hope is to introduce this to everybody and have them have these same results. I just think that, you might feel like you're late to the game. I think it's perfect. I think what you're going to see in the next 5 to 10 years is you're almost like you don't age. And I've seen it. I've personally watched it. I've experienced the doctor that I first met that was doing peptides back in Oklahoma when I was speaking for America's Frontline Doctors. I ran into this guy, Dr. Mark Sherwood, and he had been doing peptides for a decade at least already. And he said, Joey, there's stuff out there that that no one has access to because they just don't talk about it that can fix all these things. I was just talking about general wellness with him. He introduced me to it. I started on IGF-1 L3, whatever it was, back in 21, which is the same thing. It's a growth hormone secretolog, that's similar to Samoralin. I got amazing results from, and that's when I was really like, wow, this really is out there, and why don't we know about it? They don't want you to know that there's access to medications or to simple, short chain amino acids that can fix all these things.
So the next one that I was going into, I want to say something real quick too about your comment about primetime Deion Sanders about the better I look, the better I feel, the better I feel, the better I perform, the better I perform. When you have that mindset, nothing can stop you.
Nothing.
Meaning, when I went into that venture capitalist meeting on Monday,
Yeah.
I was so confident in my ability to deliver a message. And I'm talking guys that are used to being in the room with people that are, going after 3, 4, 5, $500 million, right?
Sure.
I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm killing it.
Yeah.
Like, my mind's telling me, and here's why. When I see somebody like a mutual friend of ours, Rick Revilio, who I sit down with once a month for a mentoring session in his office, and I usually am told that I get 15 minutes and then an hour and 45 minutes, we're still going, because I'm so into mindset, success. How do you build success? What is success measured by? I take Rick serious because he walks the walk. Now, my comment to people is, like the governor of Illinois, I can't take a thing this guy says serious just because of the way he looks.
He's a disgusting fat body.
But is that mean to say?
No.
I'm just saying that the CEO mentality and the way that I want to be perceived is somebody like you or Rick Revilio, to where when you step into the room, people look at you and they go,
you have an aura, bro. You have
an aura. But
because
you're not just talking the talk. You live in this lifestyle.
yeah.
And I think that CEO mentality, even though, Donald Trump is an amazing CEO, but Donald could probably lose a few extra pounds around the way.
Sure.
I don't know why he doesn't. Maybe he doesn't care, because all of his kids are in insane shape, the way that they look aesthetically and genetically.
And I'd like to think he's a little busy right now.
He's busy. There's no doubt he's busy. But again, I worry about him because I want him to be healthy for a long time. Too. I really love that guy. Okay. I mean, I know people will probably,
I love him.
They'll probably write into me and say you're an asshole for saying that, but I love Donald Trump.
I love Donald Trump too.
So,
just in case
the mindset that this stuff is giving me is that bad? Is she looking in the weird?
No, she rides for Trump.
I don't know which direction.
We're in good company.
You kind of keep looking over here in a weird way.
Because you got to keep an eye on her.
Oh, you do. I follow. But the CEO mentality is very important to me on the way people perceive you.
Yeah,
and I want people to understand that their mindset, and going back to piggyback on what you were saying, when you feel good.
Yeah.
And you look good.
Yeah.
Life is totally different.
Totally different.
And I think, and where I'm going with this is, I want to get into the next one that I've been on is NAD. Yeah. And I don't know the combination of what you guys have me on, if it's all together working on me, but a big part of my life and my genetics is depression.
Sure.
Mainly on my mom's side. I feel a totally different, we call it the Philippone gene. Okay, that's my mom's maiden name. Well, she got a brother that's got it. She had a sister that had it. And me and my brothers are like, man, I don't want that shit. I don't ever want to feel sorry for me. And I don't have it. Thank God.
Thank God.
But
I'd be miserable.
But what I've seen through where I'm going into now is with the addition of NAD with my Samoralin and my testosterone, my hormone enhancement optimization.
Yeah.
I want to go into NAD, but mood is everything to me.
Absolutely.
Mood is everything to me in being a father, a businessman, a son, a brother, whatever it is. Mood is everything. The way people look at you and the way that you respond to them, the way that you cannot be angry or stay angry, the way that you can react to a situation that 5 years ago I would have flipped this table over and freaking been in somebody's face. It's not really anger management. It was just passion a lot coming out. But now I'm like, man, my mood is completely different.
Yeah.
My outlook on life is completely different. So again, now talk to me a little bit about that mood part of it, that depression part. Now we're talking about psychological part of the brain, but that's still health. Is there in your opinion a difference in the way you feel in your patients, in your customers' ways? Have they seen a change in their mood and maybe their ability to think more clearly, brain fog, stuff like that?
Well, I mean, and that's what these things affect the most. And I think that's where you're seeing people really excited in how they feel. Everyone wants to get that weight off, but when you're just feeling better, having more energy, more mental clarity, depression. I mean, you look at the numbers of men our age with depression and anxiety and just that loneliness feeling. That's all caused by being out of whack. And I think that when you use an NAD plus, for example, again, people ask me, again, I'm not a doctor. We're not making claims on here for medical reasons. We're just talking about our experiences. And when I use NAD plus, I immediately get that almost a euphoric feeling. It's like, a little tingle. And immediately I feel that clarity. I feel like, I can run through walls, that nothing that is ahead of me. I mean, with you, let me just say something about you. Your personality is your power. Like, I mean, you're a decent looking guy. Okay. You're not that good, but your personality, I mean, on a 1 to 10 scale, Chad Belding's a 15. When you're operating at those peak levels, your mindset, how you feel, your security, walking into a room, you're untouchable. Like, I mean, what we're giving you, in my opinion, is like a superpower, because so much of who you are is that personality you bring into the ring, into the room, you know, whatever you're doing. And when you show up there with that high energy, positive, feeling good, no depression, no thinking about anything, everything is just upbeat. You light up the room anyway. But now you come in with that high energy and that good feeling, and people are drawn to you. You know, no one wants to be around a prick. We all have those miserable friends that, I mean, sure, you give them some time, but the last thing you want to do is spend 30 minutes with them. They bring you down. Well, you're one of those friends that brings people up. So you're just talking about operating in a whole different dimension. Because again, we joke around it. Deion Sanders, look good, feel good. When you're looking better and you're feeling better, that changes everything. And again, for me, I'm in that same boat. I've got a daughter who is currently on her way back from Florida. She was just at the IMG camp for 3 weeks. My number one goal in life right now, my number one priority is my daughter. Is being just a beacon of hope and strength and energy to whenever she needs something, it's a smile, let's do it. I don't care what I'm doing, what time of day it is. If she says, Dad, can we? Let's go. Let's roll. I don't want to, I'm tired. It was a long day. And she's seen it. They've seen it. My daughter, I get home at 7 o'clock. I'm whooped. My daughter's hungry. I jump right into chef mode. I'm whipping up fillets. I got sweet potatoes in the air fryer. I'm delivering for her. She just went all day. She trained all day. She's done all her stuff. It's my time. It's my job to be a dad. And as a single father, as you know, it's game time. And so we just jump right in. And if I can be more approachable, more understanding, more patient, more energetic for her, say less. I'm all over it.
Well, she's going to judge every male in her life on how you're being with it.
Oh yeah.
And I don't mean that. And I don't mean that in a way. I don't mean that in a way that she's going to have somebody that looks like you necessarily.
No, but treats her right.
But she's going to understand what it means to be respected by a man, which is so important to us as far as our daughters go. Which 100%. Is how every girl should have been treated by their dads, which it doesn't happen in all cases.
No.
But I think with this what you call this word vitality and this healthy mindset of looking better and feeling better, I kind of go back on my words now about it's cheating. It's kind of
we're simply giving your body what it needs to perform at optimum levels that you should be at. If you weren't living in the United States of America and you were in a different country where you didn't have the kind of toxins in food, people talk about all the time. They go to Europe, they actually lose weight because, you know, they're traveling around Europe, they're eating as much, but they're walking and they're eating foods that aren't loaded with chemicals.
Yeah, you go get a loaf of bread in Italy at the bakery in the morning. It's so healthy.
It's unbelievable. I mean, I eat bread here, or I go for a pizza here. My stomach literally swells out. I have to release, links on my belt, and I don't eat it. I go to Italy. I go over there and eat. I don't have one single. So all I'm simply trying to say is, we just live in a situation. We're in an environment that is harming our body, and all we're trying to do with you and folks listening is get you back to where you should be naturally. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I don't think anybody should even for a second. I hear people all the time, I know you're going to get to this next, about, I don't want to have to do something like this every day. You brush your teeth every day. You take a vitamin. I don't know anybody at our level.
I look forward to it now.
There you go.
I look forward to it now.
It's that simple.
It's like one of the exciting parts of my day because I know what the results that I'm going to get out of it. Like
last night we were laughing because I have a little nutraceutical cabinet. It's over by my refrigerator in my room where I pull out all the stuff you're doing. I just said to her last night, I said, my little night routine is kind of funny because she's laughing at me. I go in there at night. I'm taking my magnesium, I'm taking my fish. I'm taking go my whole thing at night. I'm doing my stuff. And I walked out and said, the difference is this isn't hard. You just have to do it. You have to be diligent. Sometimes I'm laying in bed. I have to jump up and go do it, but you got to do it. And I think once you start, it becomes a game with yourself. Once you realize I've got to have this and I've just got to be diligent about it, it just unlocks a whole different dimension.
In a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
What is when you put your dad hat on or you talk about this refrigerator you have, how do I explain it to people when they see that those syringes, that refrigerator? Because the mindset or the mystique in America for years has been, man, like I'd go to spring training with John Kerry and I'd wake up in the morning, pull this little cooler out, this little, soft-sided cooler out of the refrigerator every morning. And he'd have a syringe and I'd be like, dude, come on, man. And I'd give him shit all fucking day. Yeah. But he looks great and he feels great. And if you really look at what when John Kerry sits in the seat that you're in right now and he talks, you're like, holy shit. Yeah, the dude has got it together.
He's the epitome of...
And then he just went out and bought a brand new Paragon last week. I go, dude, where in the are you doing? to be able to go buy, you know what a Paragon boat is?
Yeah, I know what they are.
They're like 450 grand, right? I'm like, he just bought a brand new Paragon. I'm like, dude, something's up. But it's his mindset that has created this lifestyle for him and his wife, Sherry, and their family and their kids, that they're successful based on the way that he presents himself. And he never made excuses for it. He never tried to hide it. No. He was always open about it.
Yeah.
And he fought for the U.S. team for 13 years in jiu-jitsu, and he's a stud fighter. He's a great human being. He's a hard worker. He's got the work ethic. I'm just simply saying, how do you explain it to people to where they are not Chad Belding in Scottsdale telling John Kerry, you are an effing idiot for putting that shit into your body? How do you explain it when your daughter, when Ayala, does she know all, does she see the syringes?
Everything.
So how do I explain that to Alyssa that it's okay?
So my daughter's a little different. She's been injecting me for the past 5 years. We're dealing with a different human being here because as a single dad, hey, I'll get in here. It's time to learn something. You know, sometimes it was B12, other times it was other peptides, but she's just different. But I think it just starts with education, having a conversation. Things like this podcast is so important. What we're going to do here over the next couple years about bringing this on, because it's not going to just be us. I hope with our contact base, we can get a Gary Breck on. We get a Dr. Artis on. I think eventually we'll get those guys on this show. And I think it's just going to be exposure. Look what happened during the pandemic. You know, people, you know, everyone's all getting those shots. They made it a thing. Come get your shot. I think it actually helped us with regards to something being stuck in you. But I do think for people that are expressing apprehensiveness, trepidation, like I said before, I think you got to start with a conversation and just saying like, hey, there's options out there for you. There's stuff out there. You can do oral, you can do, nasal spray, you can do stuff. It's not as effective, but I think you just got to get it introduced to them first. Maybe something simple. Maybe it's as simple as just some NAD plus first. So they get a couple injections. They think, oh, that wasn't bad. Now Samorlin's no different than that. No, that's not so bad. Then if we've got to address other things that are more of a pinch point, like, synthetic testosterone, you can start saying, well, hey, you could do these other modalities, but this one's going to give you the most bang for your buck.
Diabetics have been
for 40, 50 years
forever, putting needles into their body.
Yeah, I watched my grandfather shoot insulin, 25 years ago. So, I mean, I've just seen it coming from a healthcare back. It doesn't really freak me out, but I think that you just slowly introduce it to people, and then you tell them, here's your options. You're only going to get about 30% of the benefits from an oral. You're going to get 60% from this. If you inject it subcutaneously, you're going to get 100%. And that's where
What was that word you just used?
Subcutaneous.
Say it one more time.
Subcutaneous, which you do now with your Samorlin every
Spell
day.
that. There's no way you can spell that. There's
SUBCTUANEAENOUS. Subcutaneous. So it's what you do with your Samorlin. You go right under the skin. You don't have to go in deep. You do it every day.
Check that, please.
That's spelled right. I was an English major.
So that means that means into belly fat? And
yes.
What was that?
That was just a little face for you because you're being a pain in the ass. You know exactly what it is. It's in the belly fat. You can even do subcutaneous.
Everybody that's watching and listening to this might not know what it is.
Oh, that's very true. Let's take it back a notch. So it's a very small needle. It's like, a quarter inch, some of them. Some of them are a little bigger. And it just has to, subcutaneous means you're just going under the levels of skin. Subcutaneous, it's right in the skin.
That's all you need to get that.
Most of them, yeah. Actually, as a matter of fact.
But you used intermuscular description.
I'm glad you just brought that up because.
What, you just were ripping my ass for bringing it up.
In the UK now, there's new studies out, and you're seeing this, that they're saying that you can do your testosterone injections subcutaneous, but you do them every day. Now, for someone like, a Chad Belding that wanted to be able to feel the full strength of testosterone enhancement therapy and didn't want to wait 60, 90, 120 days, it takes a lot longer to get your base levels up to that when you're only using a small amount, which is why I suggested to you early on, take a couple intermusculars to get you kind of kicked off. And then if you wanted to, and actually the studies I just read, it doesn't even need to be every day, but it would be 3 to 4 days a week. You're using about the same amount you put in for Samorlin, maybe a little less. You're used to pulling it to probably a 20 on your little syringe. You'd pull it to a 10 and you do testosterone right in your belly. And they're showing it.
See, I haven't gotten to the point yet to where I can do. I'm going to brag on Amy here in a second. You're Amy, but I haven't got to the point where I can do intermuscular.
That's fine.
Testosterone. I'm doing it, but she's doing it for me.
I know.
I go in there once a week. The other ones in the what's the word again?
Subcutaneous in like.
I couldn't even pronounce that, but they. I'm doing that no problem on my own.
Yeah.
No problem.
Well, they're now saying you can use your testosterone just like that. So if you didn't want to.
But only in the UK?
No.
They're not saying that in America?
It's a UK study.
I know, but they're not. Are they saying that?
They are. There's plenty of people.
Have you done it yet?
I've done it. I didn't like it. I'm not sure so I mean, look, that's that one size fits all for everybody. For some reason, it just, my body didn't feel the same. I got like it affected my gut. It was weird. I tried it for about 3 weeks, didn't really like it, and just went back to where I've been. And I'm happy with 2 shots a week. I travel with it. You have a prescription for it now. You can go anywhere with it. No one can take it from you. It's not cheating. I've gone through, anything with it. They just look at it and throw it back in your box. So I think it's just a matter of, the whole point is just getting comfortable with this stuff. And I think it's so new right now that people are like, again, the fact that you would think that it's okay to take 5 or 6 different prescriptions and then, all to address all the conditions that you're saying are affecting you, your energy levels, your sexual function, your mental cognition, depression, anxiety. You're going to take all these things, but here's one little thing that you can give yourself a shot on that's going to address those, probably the same and probably better. I just think it just takes some time for people to kind of get comfortable with it and roll into it. But I wouldn't start anybody off crazy. I would introduce them first to the fact that let's get that blood panel done. Let's get that holistic snapshot of you. Because again, I say this all the time. If you're serious about anything in life, sports, business, you're going to measure. What do we do as businessmen? What do we do in anything we do? We measure and we look at those results. Why would you not take a measurement of your body and see all your performance markers and your performance metrics and then address that? You do it with your company. You get a balance sheet. You get your receivable. You look at it. You say, what's going on here? Same thing. You get your blood work. You say, what's going on here? And so I think once you get people into it and say, okay, boom, you're deficient. I mean, look at you. It took you to say, wow, damn, I thought I was this. Well, how do I do it? Then me just knowing you're not going to wait 6 months for anything. You're like, well, how do I get moving quickly?
Do you think that with everything you're explaining with mood, depression, aesthetics, mindset, health, do you think that TKO Vitality can decrease the divorce rate in America in the next 20 years?
I don't know about that. I'd say, listen, anything's possible.
Think about what I'm saying real quick, though.
No, yes, absolutely.
Because you just mentioned sex drive and testosterone, and we haven't even touched sex drive and sexual health and all of that stuff. Mood, depression, communication, mind clarity.
Absolutely.
Think about how much of a better if everything that Joey Gilbert is saying is true and that Gary Breck is saying is true and all of these doctors that are coming out, and you watch Tony Robbins, who's just big time on this, right?
Yeah.
If everything that you guys are saying is true and it's not witchcraft and it's not you pulling the wool over my eyes as a customer of TKO Vitality, how in the hell could you fail at something? I understand that love could run out naturally, but think about, and that might be a drastic example of the divorce rate, but I just feel like such a better person that I treat people better. I'm more patient. I'm more understanding. I communicate better, more transparent, don't have the brain fog. I'm not always, anxieties have been a bitch for me over the years, because I'm always wondering if I'm in the right place at the right time all the time. And it sucks to have that freaking feeling, but it's kept me going too. I'm just simply saying that I think that this can be such an enhancement in every level of life of the way that I feel every day. There was times 6 months ago when duck season was getting over, maybe 5 months ago, to where I literally had to take 18-hour days of rest to where my body was so smoked.
Yeah,
like,
100%.
I mean, like hurting and so smoked, like almost like I didn't even want to do anything during the day. I'm just telling you that the results that I'm getting, and I haven't even started talking on what you just touched on. I just think that there's so many benefits of this type of lifestyle and mindset that you can get through taking these things that you describe as something that we should have in our body anyway. And that at one time we did have in our body anyway. Maybe the divorce rate was the wrong thing to say because relationships could fail anyway. I just see me being so much better in all those capacities that I wouldn't fail at that. I wouldn't fail at it again. I've already failed it at one time.
But you know what? You also could get in shape and just be like, I'm done with this miserable girl. It could go the other way.
Okay, so that's a great point. Look, you just said miserable girl, but what if
miserable woman?
Can girls? Is this only for guys that we're talking about?
No, my friend. This is weird doing both sides of the ball.
So what if you and your mate are both? I heard one person in the TKO Vitality family, and I'm not going to say her name. She's one of my favorite people in the world. She said that when she would miss her testosterone, her husband didn't even want to be in the same house as her.
We're seeing that again. This is a funny thing you bring up. So when we talk about all these things, these chemicals, toxins affecting and lowering things, women have testosterone. Testosterone is so important for women. And so if men's testosterone is falling at crazy chronic levels, same thing's happening with women. And so we have people involved in our network that talked about when they were going postmenopausal that they just came unhinged. And as soon as they got these naturally occurring substances reintroduced into their body, it cured everything. So 100% it can have a huge impact on just relationships in general.
If you're talking to your wife and you have open communication and your wife is working out and she's hot and you are working out and you're hot, you're not going to go out and look for somebody else that's hot.
No.
You don't need to.
You don't need to.
But the divorce rate's like 60% in our country.
It's actually higher than that. But you know what?
Okay, fine.
There's a lot of miserable people out there. And I think if everybody...
I'm just saying that this is something to think about in relationships. Of when I heard that person that I'm talking about say that, I'm like, man, that's not cool. Like, you're hard to deal with when you're not on this.
Yeah.
It's a given. Maybe I was hard to deal with for a lot of years too.
You
like
were.
I was.
Yeah.
So you're mean to me. You're really a mean person. You're really mean. He's mean, isn't he? It's because he has an audience. And look at him. Look at him. You got both of your minions giggling. We could be here by
ourselves. I still would have said that.
Giggling there. You got him giggling. No, there's no doubt I have been in my life.
Your whole team behind you is chuckling right now.
No, hey, there's no doubt about it that I have been in my life.
Yeah.
But I've also heard from many people that have wanted to get to that level, that they went through that phase in their life to where you get protective, you get defensive,
yeah.
you have that mindset that nothing's going to stop me. That doesn't mean that you go and do things the wrong way. I'm just saying I was hard to deal with on some certain subjects in my life. And I think that through this shift in the way I'm feeling now, I just wish I would have been on it a lot earlier. I could see it having a huge effect on my business life as an entrepreneur, who I consider myself an entrepreneur because I'm a risk taker. I don't just throw money at stuff, but I'm never afraid to bet on myself. Never have been. I just see it that I could have gotten a lot further in life with my mindset now of learning about this stuff. And that I hope that people understand what you're doing with TKO Vitality is not a money grab.
No,
it's not a money grab. This is really a way of, and I'm going to go back to the beginning of this conversation because you brought up lean tissue and lean muscle mass, of working out and staying in shape and developing that lean, right? There's studies right now that's saying that lean muscle mass can increase longevity of life 200%.
Yep.
That's just physically of living longer.
Yeah.
Now it's up to us how to keep our wits, how to keep our mind, how to exercise our brain, how not to get Alzheimer's, how not to get dementia. I got a buddy that's 55 that has onset dementia. It's the saddest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Get him on some nicotine quick.
That's where I'm going, is that there's something out there right now that people can be doing to prevent this stuff for them. And could you imagine looking like my buddy Les Nesbitt, who's a mutual friend of yours? He's going to be 85 in February. Could you imagine looking like that and wanting to go, but you can't because you can't?
Yeah.
You don't remember who you are?
Yeah. And
I just
Chad,
think
the crazy thing is the C-Lank, there C-Max, there are peptides out there that will restore those brain cognitive functions. That's the crazy part about all this. That's what I'm so excited about. For me, it's about delivering a different and just better quality of life to people. That's really what this platform is about. I looked at what we were able to do during the pandemic and said, oh my God, if we can do this kind of stuff, this is life-saving care. Well, shit, I can dial in hormone replacement and blood levels and stuff like this with the same thing, and I can give people a better quality of life. That's what this is all about.
Yeah, and I think that, what does the word vitality mean?
To me, it means vigor. It means like excitement. It means passion. It means being at those top levels, producing it's like being at your peak. Vitality is that strength, that vigor. That's how I feel.
Do you think most people in our country don't ever get to that level, and
No.
they don't understand what that level is?
I think they hit it years ago. I mean, here's a stat. Did you know? You probably read this. Most people will never sprint again, reach the sprint after 30 years old. That's what's happening in this country. It says
as in running a sprint?
95% of adults in this country will never sprint again after their 30s. That when you take that into your mind, I mean, for us that are racing each other everywhere and sprinting at something every day, whether it's pushing a sled or running to something, I couldn't even conceive of it. How many times we've just raced each other and just on the beach, or someone's talking shit and you're, all right, let's go. I couldn't imagine it. I sprint with my daughter. I'm up on there. I just couldn't imagine that. But that's where we're at. So you're absolutely right. People are not getting to those levels anymore. And what we're trying to do is bring it back. This whole thing for me is about encouraging overall optimized wellness, but mobility. Because here's one of the things we've noticed. when people are feeling better and they're looking better and they're performing better, they go out and do things they haven't done in years. They're taking that hike with the kids finally. They're out on the boat. They're out skiing. They're anywhere they were going to go that they've been saying no or had an excuse for 15 years. I've watched it happen. People are going on trips they have been planning for 10 years. People are going and doing things that they've been talking about for a decade because they feel better and they have the energy. So it's not even about the look. I mean, look, there's plenty of people. If you feel great and your energy levels are great and your cholesterol and your lipids and you're still a little overweight, but you're happy, I'm fine with it. But if we can, but I just think that just general wellness, these things dial in, you start eating better, you start acting, being more active, you're going to lose that weight. So for this, it's a full profile of enhancing all the things in your life that you're most passionate about. That's what I think we're really targeting.
Yeah, and I go back to another point that you made, Joey, at the beginning of this of you going into these gyms that we pop into so often on a regular basis and seeing the same people with the same body structure and composure.
Yeah, breaks my heart, man. Because they're there. If they can get to the gym every day, imagine, I mean, I can't wait. I said this to you before. We get this company to a level where I can actually start doing some stuff, whether it's charity or nonprofit work. I can't wait to start going up to folks and saying, hey, can I have a conversation with you? You know, I'd love to get you. Listen, I mean, there are a couple things I'm going to do. I'm going to put your treadmill to about an 8% grade and turn it up to 3 and say, walk on this incline for 30 days every day. But I'd love to get you on this tirzepatide and see what you're eating. And just give me 30 days, give me 60 days. I'd love to be able to be in a position to do that and just give it away. And just because I know what it's going to do to these folks. I know it's going to absolutely change their life forever, overnight, in 30 to 60 days. And I can't wait till we can do that kind of stuff, till we can go into communities and really, and really affect people, because we'll be able to, it'll be much more prevalent. People will understand it more. They just won't have the access to it or the money to spend on it. And that's where we can dip in and say, hey, we have a nonprofit wing of this where we go and help folks. And I would love to do that, especially kids, especially younger
because
kids.
The bad habits that are learned, the earlier you develop bad habits, the harder it is to get out of those habits.
For sure.
Life. And then when you do get that overweight, that big time belly, that lethargic attitude every day, it's harder to get back to the mindset of like, I want to start. I got to get back.
Well, Chad, I say this again, and I can't be more, more powerful in how they say this. You absolutely have no chance in this country once you're 15 or 20 pounds overweight. It is the sickest, most painful, heartbreaking thing I've ever seen. And it's because of the stuff in our food. You see these people, you see them overweight. No one has your drive, my drive, to go to the gym and get that off. And even if they did, they're already at a disadvantage because their body's going to break down. They're going to feel sore. And I'll say this, the biggest thing we talk about this misnomers with this stuff, as we encourage people to get back into that healthy lifestyle, one thing I try to say to all men and women, both sides of the ball, is ease into it. It's all about consistency. It's all about doing that same workout or a similar workout 4 and 5 days a week, not the 1 or 2 days a week where you go in and kill yourself. You're sore for the rest of the week. You can't get in there. It's all about slowing it down. We add consistency, then we add volume, and then we add intensity. So it's first, just for those folks listening, just get walking again on that treadmill.
So you're saying that this is not a cure-all?
It's not a cure-all.
You still got to go put the work in.
You got to put, you should. And I think what you're going to notice is you're going to have that much more energy and excitement to do it. Because once you start feeling better and having that energy, first thing that you're going to notice is the energy. You're going to notice the energy. You're going to notice the food noise is quieted. You're going to notice that you've just got overall more mental clarity. That gets you going. Then you start, if people drop 5 pounds, they're like, wow. It took me a month to try that. They get that off in a week or two or a month. They're like, wow. Then 2 months, they hit 12 pounds. Then 3 months, they're at 15 pounds. They've now just lost the weight they've been trying to get off for a decade in 3 months, and not by killing themselves. So now they've done it. They're like, wow, they start working out more. What I've seen from this is the complete opposite, that people that might not even have been a big workout person are now working out more, and they're not doing what we're doing, but they're walking the dog now every day, and they're doing their air squats, and they're doing their push-ups, and they're doing their simple pull-ups. They got a little home gym, apartment gym.
They're moving.
They're moving. And that's all we want to see. We just want to see people get back to the basics. We had a very more active, mobile lifestyle years ago. And so we're just getting them to put that phone down, take a walk, put that phone down, go with the kids somewhere, ride a bike. Yeah. And so that's all we're trying to do, is introduce the very basic things that have always been in part of this country for a long time back into their lives.
So TKO Vitality as a whole is a lifestyle. It's a shift.
Lifestyle.
It's a shift in mindset and lifestyle.
100%.
Because if you have like the way that I look at it is that I'm going to do hard shit every day.
Yeah.
My whole life. That's all my dad taught me to do. You're only born with, there's one thing that you're born with that matters, and that's a work ethic. Yeah. You got to put the work in. You can say all day long that my family means everything to me, and it better. But if you don't have a work ethic to provide for that family's going to be in shambles. My dad always taught me that. You got to be a provider all the time. And my mindset of being a provider is that I want to do it by leading by example of if I'm going to shoot a duck, I'm going to teach somebody how to cook it, and I'm going to teach them why I'm cooking it that way. But I'm not going to sit there and say, you don't have to eat duck if you kill it, right? I want to be a provider in the way that when my daughter looks at me for the things that I do, there was a mindset that there's a reason behind it. And the reason that I see me being a part of TKO Vitality is that I care that people go out and do the things that it takes to have a healthy life. And I think that once you get into that state of, I don't know where to start. Like my brother, I'm trying to tell my brother, I hope he hears this. I hope he listens to this one. I'm like, dude, you were the Gatorade Player of the Year in all 3 sports your senior in high school. You had 20 offered full ride scholarships in baseball to D1. He was a freak. And now I'm sitting there going, how in the fuck can you not have the mindset to work out every day still? He's like, I just don't need it. I'm like, yeah, you do. Yeah. Yes, you freaking do.
I think everyone's different, but I'll say this though. When you start...
So what, are you saying that I'm being too hard on him?
No. I think that like with everybody, people,
I don't say that to him, by the way.
But here's
I'm
the thing,
just saying it behind his back on this camera right now.
And that's okay, because here's the thing. You don't know what you're missing until you kind of get it back. And I think that guys like your brother and people that I've seen like this, they get this holistic view, and we start tweaking some things, and all of a sudden this energy and this drive kind of comes back in, and this comfort and this security comes back, and all of a sudden now they're at the gym. They might not be there 5 days a week, but all of a sudden they're there 3 and 4 days a week, and they're doing little things. I just think it comes with it. I think a naturally healthy, maximized, optimized body won't let you not do those active things. I just think you naturally, as humans, have that I don't know, that internal, drive to move. We're not born to sit around. So I just think that what happens is you slowly add these things back in, they get that feeling back, and it just happens, holistically. It just happens naturally. They go back. But I do think, look, we need to bring back bullying in this country. I think it's very important. We need to bring back bullying. Bring back bullying, bring back shaming. We need to start holding people accountable, because that is not acceptable to be in this state, because now you're stuck on the system. You're not healthy. You're not happy. You're bringing other people down. You're costing yourself money, your family money. And again, if you're talking about being there for your family, you got to be in good shape to live long. It's just a fact, right? So I think that in time we're going to get people to think like that. You just got to make it easier, accessible, and the information at their fingertips.
So I live in California, I live in Arkansas, I live in Florida, I live in New Hampshire, Maine. Can I become a customer of TKO Vitality? How do I do it? What's my first steps? And what can I expect when I take that first step into, maybe just doing my due diligence a little bit into what this company is going to offer me?
Well, it's very simple. You're just going to go on the internet. You're going to go on your phone, computer, laptop, iPad. You're going to go to tkovitality.co. And once you get on there, it's going to say book a call. And what you're going to do is you're going to jump right in there, and you're going to get scheduled to get some lab work done and to talk to a doctor. And it happens first, our guys will reach out to you. They'll figure out what you're doing. You obviously got there. You answered some questions on the website, little things in there. What are you trying to do? Little thing in there. And then you're going to hear from an actual person, a live person is going to call you and say, hey, we're happy that you called us. What can we do for you? And you're going to talk about it. Then you're going to book your labs. You're going to go get your labs. Once your labs come back, you're going to talk to your doctor, and the doctor is going to get you going. So it's very simple process of just clicking. I would tell people is go on tkovitality.co and click, get started. It's 5 minutes. And I think what people will realize is it's not some elongated process. It's going to be very quick. Someone's going to call you right back. They're going to immediately schedule you to get labs and send you a lab form, whether they text it to you or email it to you. You're going to print that up, go to a lab that's within a couple miles of wherever you live, wherever you are, wherever you're even traveling, get your blood work done. That's going to be then emailed to you, and then you're going to book a call with the doctor to go through those. And I think that no matter what you do in life, even if you ultimately said, hey, you know what, I saw this stuff, I'm just not ready to do that yet. Well, one of the things that shocked me to my core is since I've been doing this, actually since first meeting Sly, is asking people, when was the last time you actually had blood work? And just the blank faces from friends we know, people we've been around for 20 years that give you that blank stare and say, I don't even know, man. Well, I had a procedure two or 3 years ago. Oh, they pulled your CBC. They didn't pull anything. Dude, I don't even know. And so most of the guys that we're bringing in haven't had a blood test in 20 years. And so I just think if nothing else you take from this, jump on TKO to at least get a printout of your data.
How old should I be if I'm 18 and is it
25 and over?
25 and over. So if I'm 60, is it too late?
No, actually, you're perfect. I think what we're going to see. My father is 75 years old, and he just started TRT because I was bugging him a little bit, and he told me he didn't need it. And then he went and got it tested. Then he introduced it, and he just said, "Holy shit!" He's just like, couldn't believe it. And it was like 2 weeks. And so I think, from 85 or 90 down to 25, you should absolutely be getting your blood work done and taking a look. And at least what would it hurt you to sit with a doctor for 10 or 15 minutes and walk through? I mean, we do it with everything else. We spend more time with something that we just bought or a car we brought in or anything than sitting down with your own body and taking a look at it. So I just would say to people, go on tkovitality.co, book a call, maybe it's $100, maybe your insurance covers your labs. Just sit through a consultation, ask some questions. If you ultimately say afterwards, it's just not for me right now, I don't want it, great. But at least have that holistic snapshot, retest it another year or two, or maybe 5 years. And I bet you then you're going to say, okay, I want to make some changes. I want to do something. But I would just encourage everybody to get that image done. And when I say that is just get that snapshot in time of where you are as a human and where your body is on performance levels, and then address it or don't address it. But don't sit in the dark. I mean, what I'm blown away by, and I've had many of my friends, my best friends, when a guy that just came in and now we're fixing him, 10 years. I've been asking him for 10 years. Since 2014, I've been saying, get your stuff checked. He just got it checked. Everything, lowest levels you can imagine. Give me 60 days with this guy and he's going to feel like a new person. And so all I say to folks is, why would you not want to know? Why would you not want to know?
Why would you not want to?
Go get it done. You get your oil changed. You get a breakdown of what's wrong with your car. Every car's got a computer now. You look at that. You look at the report when you bring your car in. You look at that invoice. Of course you do.
I mean,
Why
people would go on
yourself?
Over the last decade. A lot of people would go online just to figure out if they had Italian blood in them.
Yeah,
they're like going onto an ancestral website. Yeah. They'll pay for that. Well, who gives a shit if you're not healthy?
And now you can do a DNA test and genetic profile and get all your blood work. So let's knock it all out. That's all you want.
So when they go on tkovitality.co and they see those models on the upper right of the screen, are those paid models?
Well,
tell us a little bit of the background of these models.
That's yours truly.
Are they airbrushed?
I mean, guy looks good, doesn't he? I mean, when you look at that guy that you see on TKO Vitality, first shot to your mind is not that guy's 49 years old. You're like, this guy's a killer. He's 30, 35, probably, kills it.
So who is that?
That's a guy named JG. If you know him. Joey Gilbert.
TKOvitality.co. I am a huge proponent of it. I'm fired up for the future. I'm honored to be part of it. I'm honored to have Joey in the studio. We're going to be back at you. I want to do a series of updates. Absolutely. Come in here with blood work. Let's talk about it. Let's see what we're seeing. I want to educate people on, if you do decide to take this route with TKO Vitality and watching your results, getting blood work done every 3-4 months, seeing what it's doing and altering and maybe making adapting a little bit, figuring it out. You might have to decrease something or increase something. There's going to be protocol with this business model that you have. There's going to be help. There's going to be instruction. There's going to be influence and inspiration on there. The stories, we didn't even get into Amy. We didn't get into a lot of the people that are already experiencing great results with this. But as far as me, aesthetically, I'm already down 14 pounds and my mindset's better. And I didn't even talk about the sleep aid that I've been on for 4 years. Not a prescription one, just me thinking that I needed a sleep aid. I haven't taken it in 25 days. I have a counter of like, oh my God, I'm falling asleep on my own.
That's fantastic.
No, it's really good for me. So I think that everybody's going to have their own path. Everybody's going to have their own journey, their own experience with this. Everybody's going to write their own story with it. But don't be afraid to go on there, click get started, and then just figure out where you're at through getting this blueprint of what your body's doing. It can't hurt. Can't hurt. Do you have any closing words? Do you want to stand up and flex for the camera?
No. Again,
are you sure you don't want to take your shirt off?
No. I would just leave it with this and just say to everyone, as I've said one more time, you have these tools at your fingertips now. Use them. And why would you not want to at least get a quick snapshot of what you look like? Do it for yourself. Do it for your family. Let's take a look at things. And like I said, let's get you, if you're listening and you want to get back in fighting shape, you want to get back into where you used to, give this a chance. Give us a chance and try it out.
What is your body fat right now, you think, Joe? If you went and got a DEXA scan?
I don't know.
Are you close to somewhere between? No. Are you somewhere between 12 and 15%? Somewhere in there?
Yeah, probably 12ish.
And what did you fight at?
Oh God, probably like 6. I was thin.
12's really low.
I was 159 pounds on the scale when I was fighting, and there wasn't an ounce of fat on me. But that was like obviously a very hard thing to do. I walk around at 200 pounds now, and when I wasn't fighting, I walk around about 180. So taking off that 20 pounds was always pretty brutal. But I mean, again, this is just for the everyday folks out there. This is just, again, something at your fingertips to give you an idea of where you're at, and then let's address it.
I think it's awesome. The future's bright. TKO Vitality, Vitality.
Yep, .co.
What was that other word you said earlier?
Subcutaneous.
It's not even a real word. .co. Thank you, Joey Gilbert.